Hello, so what I've done is added a link to a couple of beanie videos I've done just to show anybody who's interested this lovely decorative and stretchy cast on technique that I use for quite a few of the beanies I make. So if you're interested, just keep watching. It's done using Judy's magic cast on, and then which is done on 2 needles, and then a little bit extra. And I did mention it in the basic beanie video, the lady who I got this from. Anyway, so here's how I'm going to cast on 114 stitches, so here's how I do it. Just to work out how much yarn I need, that's what I'm going to do first. So I'll go around 10 times with this yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'd say I need about that much yarn for 10 stitches, and then you have a bit of tail. But I'm using 114 stitches and 2 needles, so say about 55 on one needle. Well, it'd be 57, wouldn't it? Plus a tail. So anyway, so I've got double that, so it's 10. And I just keep going. It's 20, 30. Excuse my curly hair everywhere. It gets everywhere. 40, 50, and say a bit of tail. So I'm using 2 needles. I've got my tail towards me and the working yarn away from me. And as I said, I'm using Judy's magic cast on to begin with. So the way I do that is put my thumb and index finger in between the 2 yarns and grab that working yarn which is away from me with the lower 3 fingers of my left hand. So that working yarn then comes over the index finger and over the thumb. Then I grab the tail yarn also with the fingers at the bottom of the hand there, those 3 fingers. So I've got this. The needle, the first needle, comes in from this direction, and then I twist. So I have my first stitch on the needle. So I've actually twisted anti-clockwise. That's given me the first stitch. Hold that needle. Meanwhile, come up with your second needle. My even stitches are going to be on the needle that's away from me, and my odd stitches the needle that's closest to me. Now to put the second stitch on, using this tail yarn that's around the thumb, I bring the needles so that the thread comes through the center of the needles around that needle that's away from me, and then I twist anti-clockwise again. Now I'm putting on the third stitch, which is an odd number, and I go to the index finger with the needle closest to me. The yarn comes in between the needles, and then that gets twisted again around. Then again for stitch 4, the yarn in between the needles around the outer needle, the furthest away from me. This is the tail yarn, and that anti-clockwise twist. Then so you keep doing this. Now I'm on an odd number again, stitch 5, and it's the working yarn which is around the index finger, comes up through the center, and then I twist the needles anti-clockwise again. So, and then you keep going back and forth. So now I've got stitch 6, stitch 7, and it gives this weaving action. So I'll carry on doing that for 114 stitches. So I've got 10 there, 2, 4, 5, that's 10, 11, 12, so I've got 111, 112, 113, and the last stitch 114. I bring it like this, and then I twist, and I twist again, so that this working yarn is in the up position. I'm going to be working with that, and I've twisted it and locked it onto that needle. I've got the tail yarn below, and all of those stitches are now weaved. Now I'm going to do the second part of this cast on, and with the weave underneath, the needle closest to me, I'm going to pull it out. And with that working yarn, I'm going to knit all of the stitches that are on this needle. So I'm knitting them into the back of the stitch, because the way I've cast on, that bit at the back of the stitch is closest coming forward, and so I need to knit into the back of the stitch. So I knit all along, and that should be, what have I got, 114 stitches. That should be 57 stitches on this one needle. So I'm knitting these, that's 3, 4, 55, 56, and the last one on that side, 57. So I've knitted along the one side, and now I'm going to knit along the other side. So I've pulled it all down, and then I put these stitches onto this needle. On this side, however, the yarn for the stitches is coming forward on this side, so they're just regular knitting. It's cut, so you can see there the first one coming forward, and that's normally what you do knit into. So anyway, I'm going to pull that. So I knit the other 57 now. So that's at 58, 59, 112, 113, and then last stitch 114 stitches. As you can see, they're still on 2 needles. So this has been the Judy's Magic cast on part of this technique for getting that lovely edging. So I'll just pull that out, and then I'll bring them both back onto the 2 needles. So you've got your lovely purl on that side, and on this side that's what you have, the knitting and the purl. So now we want to get them 114 stitches that I'm using for my beanie onto one needle, a round hat knitting needle, a small one. So put them all into these 2 needles. So I've got them into the 2 needles, and I've got the knitted part on top and that lovely purl on the bottom. I have my working yarn towards me, my tail towards me, and here's the working yarn. So now I'm going to start putting them onto this little hat needle. I'll prepare the little hat needle first, because I don't want them falling off the end, and I have my trusty band. So that's what I tend to use. So as I say, working yarn is there, tail towards me. The first stitch presenting itself is this one. I've got the purl stitches underneath, the knitted stitches on top. First stitch presenting is this one, and this stitch here I'm going to knit. And off. Make sure that none of the other stitches come off. Bring the yarn in the purl position and go to the other needle on the other side and purl. And off. Bring the yarn around. So now we're doing a knit and a purl. The first one into this needle that's closest to you is the knit stitch. It's just a 1 by 1 ribbing. You just have to make sure that that's the only stitch you're taking off. Bring the yarn around, go to the needle away from you and do the purl. And stitch off. And keep doing that back and forth all of the way along. One knit and one purl. So all of the way along until all of the stitches are on this right hand little hat needle. So I'm coming up to the end now, and still going nice and slowly. You don't want to ruin it at any point. This particular type of cast on will take a bit of practice, I would imagine. It certainly did with me. But I love it because it's really decorative and it's stretchy. It just looks really nice. So purl, last 2 stitches. I'm just holding them here with my thumb. So I'll go into this one, knit, and off with that one, holding the other one with my thumb, and purl into that last one. So that's all 114 stitches are now on this little hat knitting needle. You pull it the right way round, of course. You can see how beautifully decorative it is. Bye for now.